आप देख रहे हैं पाकिस्तान टाइम, आपकी आवाज मार्ट हमारा प्लेटफॉर्म। हर लम्हा ताज़ा तरीन खबरें, तज्जिए और अवामी राय के लिए हमारा चैनल सब्सक्राइब करें।
The OIC represents not merely a forum of nations, but the collective aspirations, shared values, common future of the entire Muslim Ummah. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you not only as the Chief Minister of Punjab, but as a proud daughter of Pakistan, as a representative of millions of women across the Muslim world, and as someone whose own journey has been shaped by the transformative power of resilience and opportunity. The story of women in Islamic world has never been a story of limitation. It has always been a story of strength, a story of resilience, a story of courage, a story of perseverance, a story of leadership forged by circumstances that demanded extraordinary strength. There is a common belief, my friends, that empowerment is something that is given. My own journey has taught me something very different. Empowerment is often created by circumstances. Sometimes circumstances test a woman before they trust her with leadership. Sometimes circumstances demand resilience before they offer responsibility. And sometimes they reveal strengths that she never knew she possessed. My own journey, ladies and gentlemen, has been shaped by such circumstances. There were moments when circumstances tested my resilience in ways I could have never imagined. Standing beside my father, the Prime Minister, Mohammad Nawaz Sharif, during times marked by injustice, by inequality, by political adversity, and immense personal trials, I learned that conviction often demands sacrifice and that perseverance is sometimes the only path forward. While the struggle was for my father, it was also for the millions of Pakistanis whose hopes, whose aspirations, whose voices he represented. In standing for him, ladies and gentlemen, I found myself becoming the voice of the millions who believed that their own voice, their mandate, their aspirations deserved to be heard and defended. Those experiences did not teach me bitterness. As they say, what doesn't kill you makes you strong. And as they say, that the strongest steel is forged in hottest fires. The adversity taught me patience. It taught me endurance. And it taught me that responsibility comes with standing firm for what one believes to be right. It reminded me that adversity can either define your limits or reveal your strengths. So it became a source of purpose and resolve. They taught me that empathy for women who struggle quietly every day, the unsung heroes across the world, the widow trying to educate her children, the mother worrying about putting food on the table, the young girl wondering whether her dreams are too big for the world she was born into. I was fortunate to learn from the very best, to learn from the remarkable women who came before me. Madre Millat, mother of the nation, Mohtarma Fatima Jinnah, stood beside Quaid-e-Azam, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan, as his closest companion, as his closest aide, as his confidant, and as his pillar of strength during the struggle for the creation of Pakistan. My mother, late Begum Kulsoom Nawaz Sharif, was the guiding light behind my father, the wind beneath his wings, the wind beneath my wings. My father, who had the honor of serving, the only one to be 3 times Prime Minister of Pakistan. She taught me that leadership is not always exercised from the front row of history. Often, it is quiet strength, it is wisdom, it is sacrifice behind the scenes that sustains nations and shapes leaders. When circumstances demanded leadership, she stepped forward with grace, dignity, and resilience, reminding us all that courage is not the absence of hardship, but the determination to stand firm in the face of it. Shaheed Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto opened doors that many believed could never have been opened, becoming the first woman Prime Minister of Pakistan and the first woman Prime Minister of the entire Muslim world. Their journey reminds us that every generation of women carries the responsibility of making the path easier for the generation that follows. Ladies and gentlemen, we gave the Muslim world its first woman Prime Minister. Pakistan elected its first woman Speaker of the National Assembly of Pakistan. Punjab today has its first woman Chief Minister. I don't say that with pride, I say that with gratitude and humility. The Lahore High Court today is led by its first woman Chief Justice. These are not merely individual achievements, they are milestones in the journey of millions of girls, hundreds of millions, who now dare to imagine themselves in places where previous generations were told they did not belong. For me, women empowerment is not a ceremonial expression. It is the distance between a right written on paper and a life changed on ground. It is the distance between announcing a policy and ensuring that it reaches the woman for who it was intended. It is the distance between opening a helpline and answering a call in distress, a call in need. And there is another principle that guides me, that guides my work. Women must not merely benefit from development, they must shape it. This is why across all programs and across all policies, we have ensured that women are represented as participants, as beneficiaries, as entrepreneurs, as professionals, and leaders alongside men as equal partners. In many of our initiatives that you just saw on screen as well, opportunities for women are not capped or restricted by quotas, by numbers, by statistics, because talent does not recognize limits, and neither should opportunity. For example, in my scholarship and laptop schemes, not 30%, not 40%, not even 50%, 60% young girls are beneficiaries of these programs. Because when barriers are removed and opportunities are equal, women do not have to beg for space. They earn it. Behind every policy is a person. Behind every program is a story. And behind every statistic is a woman waiting for an opportunity to unfold. For the women living in a rented house, burdened by rising rents and the uncertainty of what tomorrow brings, apni chhat, apna ghar, my roof, my house, is more than just a housing program. The first beneficiary of this initiative, on my first visit, I met a widow who was raising 3 young girls, 3 daughters. And her meager source of earning was from flower arrangements that she was doing at certain events, at small-scale marriage events. For years, she said, they lived in a rented house, moving from one uncertainty to another, struggling each month simply to make ends meet. The burden had become so heavy that she had stopped sending her daughters to school. Today, the same mother has moved into a home she can call her very own, her home, her house. And her daughters are back in school, carrying books once again instead of burdens. A house gave her shelter, but security, sense of security, gave her daughters back their future. Today, close to 200,000 families representing nearly 1 million people have benefited from this program, moving from the insecurity of rented homes towards the dignity and permanence of a roof of their own. For the widow or the landless mother who spent her life believing that ownership belonged to men, ownership belonged to others, my initiative, Apna Khet, Apna Rozgar, which means my farm, my livelihood. It means a piece of land, a permanent address, a place in society a woman can finally call her own. For the young girl from a modest household who wondered whether university was only for the privileged, the Honhar Scholarship is not financial assistance, not just financial assistance. I want to share an anecdote with you, a story of a brave girl. At one of the ceremonies of the scholarship program, whose dream of getting an education was almost taken away by extreme poverty. Her family was struggling financially, faced with difficult choices. Her father told her that he could only afford to pay one child's education. Since her brother was a boy, he was given priority, and she was asked to leave the university. Imagine how heartbreaking that would have been. A young girl with dreams, talents, and ambitions was forced to believe that her education mattered less, that she mattered less, simply